Well, hey there, folks. Looks like it's finally time for Matt's Top 25.
All right, now here's a little recap for you. And it's time to get serious now. It's finally time.
For Matt's Top 10, his favorite slashers of all time. We'll see where I fit in.
All right, so my number 10 pick is Halloween 2 from 1981. I know a lot of you are like, what? Come on, that's supposed to be a lot higher. But it is my number 10 pick. It scratched the top 10, and I put it just ahead of part 3 because it does feel like an extension of the original Halloween. Yeah, I had to put 2 just higher. It was just, it's so classic, and I love those movies. I love Halloween, So my number 10 is Halloween 2 from 1981. Okay, so on to the number 9 pick. Now this one is a classic one for me. This one means a lot to me for my whole direction I went with horror back in the 80s being a kid. Number 9 is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind I'm number 1. Of course I'm number 1. What are you talking about?
Now, this is another one that's controversial. I know a lot of people would be like, that would never make my top 25, and some people are like, oh, I adore it. It was known as the gay Friday the 13th film and stuff, and I never even saw that. When I was a kid, I didn't see any of that at all. It never even crossed my mind. I mean, I thought Coach was a little weird, clearly into some different stuff, and I did think it was a little weird that Jesse went to that bar, But even with what went on, I was too clueless. Back then, I was probably 10 or 11 at the most when I was watching that. Probably 10. And yeah, like I said, it didn't cross my mind. I was way more obsessed with Freddy and that glove and how scary he was. And I mean, part 2, he was freaking scary, man. He looked really terrifying.
Without a doubt, you know where I'm coming in.
And he didn't really have his comedy down so much yet. The body and the brains thing was cool, but it really wasn't. He wasn't a comedian. He didn't start getting into that until the 3rd film. But the second one, man, he was scary, and that movie had some serious impact on my horror directions. So that is why it's my number 9. Okay, so on to number 8. Now, a lot of people are going to be a little surprised by this pick, and that's okay. That is okay. But for me, I love this movie. I defend this movie because there's very, very little in this film that I didn't like or totally enjoy. And it is the craziest Michael Myers has ever looked on screen, in my opinion. It is 2021's Halloween Kills. It's my number 8. Now, I know a lot of you are like, what? And Evil Dies Tonight, and I was supposed to, yes, it was. It was annoying. I know, that annoyed me too. And there were some silly lines. There were some silly decisions made. Again, it's a slasher movie, though. I mean, people sometimes make dumb decisions. So I have to let a few things slide, even though it was annoying. But just seeing Michael Myers kick so much ass in that movie and being so unstoppable, it was just something to see, and it was something to behold. Like, that blew me away when I saw it. I was just like, look at how powerful they made him. It was insane. What a force he was to watch in Kills. And, it has some suspense in it. It's got some scenes like that. It's got that car scene and the door and the gun and everything. And it's filled with all sorts of, it's just like I always say, it's like slasher candy. It's just like, oh, it's so exciting, because he's just unstoppable. Like, what are they going to do? That just was entertaining as hell for me. So I really loved that movie. I thought it was a blast, despite its obvious flaws. So, again, I'm sorry it's that high. Let me know what you guys think. But that is my number 8 pick. Okay, so moving on to number 7. This pick, you probably won't be surprised because of what the number 8 pick was. My 7 pick is going to be 2018's Halloween. Now, I picked it for my number 7 because this slasher movie, like, it just changed everything for me. I felt like it completely revived everything good that I was missing from the previous movies, like since Halloween 4. 1988, Halloween 4, I think, was the last time we really saw Myers like that, like the way I wanted to see him, and to have that beautiful Halloween atmosphere. And they just captured it so well, and they gave us a good story and good characters. And Laurie was interesting, and this ultimate ass kicker is just super paranoid. Like, it was really good. I really enjoy that. I think as an overall slasher movie, from A to B, that is a good movie. It's a great story. I love it. And that's why it's number 7. For my number 6 pick, I went with the original 1996 Scream by Wes Craven. Now, Scream was breakthrough. Okay, I was there opening night for Scream in December of 96. Thoroughly impressed with that movie. I was impressed with the trailers. I was excited when I saw those trailers. I was like, shit, this looks so good. And we got out of that theater and I was just like, that was so good, right? Like, it was fantastic. And you all know this because it inspired so many 90s horror movies after that. So, I mean, what more can you say about the original Scream? The suspense and the intense, Ghostface and the call, and like just that opening scene, brilliant. Easily one of the greatest opening scenes ever we've seen, especially in a horror movie. It's fantastic. Really, I could go on and on for days about this. You know why it's there. It is my number 6 on my list. Okay, so my number 5 pick is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. Now, a lot of people love this movie. A lot of people think it is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie ever made, and I certainly wouldn't correct somebody if they thought that. I think it is an absolutely awesome slasher movie. It's as iconic as it gets. It's kind of like, I feel like it's pinnacle 80s Freddy. He was fantastic here. He still had the scary element. He started getting a little funny in this, so he started losing a little bit of that terrifying image he had in the first 2 films. But it wasn't super oversaturated, I felt like, I didn't like the direction they went where he got too funny and he got too familiar and he lost a lot of the scariness. And that did begin in the 3rd film, but the 3rd film is so well done. The Dream Warriors themselves, just amazing characters, so much fun. Having Nancy back in the movie, Heather, of course, coming back, that was a really nice angle too. And it was huge for me. It was the first new Nightmare on Elm Street movie that came out after I knew who Freddy even was, So that was like there's a new one, It was very, very exciting to finally see that movie. And I think it still holds up today as a really fun slasher film. So that is why it is my number 5 pick. All right, so moving on to my number 4 pick, here we go. I went with Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter. Oh yes, I gave The Final Chapter my number 4 spot on my all-time list. And you know why. The Final Chapter is arguably the best Friday the 13th film ever made, in my opinion. It has everything. In this movie, it has a badass Jason, great kills, good makeup, excellent acting, great comedy. The teenagers behaving badly like every Friday the 13th film always should have. It's just a fantastic. It's always a good time when it's on. It's just so great. Like, without a doubt, it's got to be in my top 4. On any other day, it might even be a little higher. That's kind of how it is for some of these that are in here. But my number 4 pick, I went with Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter. Okay, guys, we've reached the top 3. Things are getting crazy serious now. my number 3, I decided to go with Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. And some of you may have seen this coming because you know I put 4 so close to 6 all the time. I swear you could coin flip them for the best in the entire franchise, in my opinion. I usually put 6 just a little higher though, because that was my first new Friday the 13th film once I knew who Jason was. You know, that was like my Dream Warriors movie, if you will. But that came out in '86, so that was the new one that dropped where I'm like, oh my God, they're making a new one. And I saw the trailer and I couldn't wait until we could see it on video, of course. But Part 6, again, it's like 4 in that respect. It has everything. It's just so much fun, and I watched it so many times. I thought C.J. Graham was just a fantastic Jason. He's my favorite with the way he moves and his size and everything. Awesome Jason. I thought his Jason was very scary as well, especially with his mask off with that sort of mummified zombie look up there. I thought that was really creepy. So easily one of my favorites, and there's no way it's not in my top 3 all time. I love Jason Lives, and that's why it's number 3. Okay, so we're on to number 2. Gigantic movie here. Gigantic. Can you guess what it is? I'm sure many of you have. There are only 2 masterpieces that I have left out. And one of them is my number 2 spot, and that is 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street by the master, Wes Craven.
What the hell are you talking about? You're telling me I'm not number 1? This is bullshit.
Now, you know why this movie is there. I have the utmost respect for the original Nightmare on Elm Street. It set me on my horror path. It made me the fan I am today, you know, of horror films. And I was obsessed with Freddy. I thought that glove was the coolest thing I've ever seen. He was totally terrifying, and that first film was phenomenal for me. I thought it was so well done. I still think for sure, hands down, it's Wes Craven's best film. Some will argue Scream, you know, Last House on the Left. There's all sorts of cool ones, but I know many people will argue Scream, but I just say you can't have Scream without having A Nightmare on Elm Street first, you know, and a few other films that came before it. But A Nightmare on Elm Street for me is you know, groundbreaking and very, very dear to me. So that is definitely why it is my number 2 pick on my list.
How am I not number 1? Ugh.
All right, moving on to the number 1 pick. I'm sure you guys have all figured it out by now. Obviously, it is going to be John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978. I could go on and on and on about the original Halloween. You know how fantastic it is. What a masterpiece. I love the way it's shot. I love the way it feels, the suspense, the stalking of the girls, the kills, the cinematography is just great. You know, everything went together so beautifully for that film. It will always be my favorite slasher, I think. I can't imagine anything coming out and giving it a run for its money. I mean, you can see what I have in my top 25. There you have it. Like, I love Terrifier 2 last year. That's a really cool slasher movie, you know, but I couldn't crack it into my top 25 in terms of what I love to watch, you know, my warm, fuzzy slasher movies that you want to watch when you're not feeling well or something, or when you're just trying to cheer yourself up. I just have too many of those that are still ahead of it, so I can't imagine anything ever dethroning 1978's Halloween. It's just the best. So, big surprise there, I know. So
You gotta be kidding me. Halloween. That guy's nothing. Slice him in half.
what do you guys think? I mean, let me know. Let's hear the wrath. I know that a lot of you guys aren't going to agree with every little decision here, and some of them were a little wacky for me, but it was personalized for me, right? So Let me know kind of what you would change or what you would put kind of up top or what I may have left out. Or you can put your full top 25 if you want to list that in there and you have the time to do that. That's fine too. So I know this is going to be a pretty long video, so if you stuck around for this whole thing, thank you so much. I know it's asking a lot. They're pretty long videos, but I just wanted to put this together just to get some conversation going and everything, and try to figure it out for myself how I would kind of rank my favorite slasher movies. So let me know again in the comments what you guys think. We'll see you again for another video real soon. And again, thanks so much for watching. See you guys.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for the top 25 on Morbid Mattski's channel. I still say I got screwed on first. How the hell would you pick Michael Myers over me? Seriously? I need a new movie. Ugh.